What's going on, everybody? It is TripleCrown24 back today with my COMC update for October 2022. This is something that I am tentatively planning to do once a month since I returned to COMC last month, just to kind of chronicle my journey for several purposes. The first one being, I think it's interesting. I know that I get a lot of good feedback on the card show recap videos that I do. And a lot of times that is just associated with picking up cards that are going to be added into my inventory, whether it be my eBay store or I guess now my COMC port. And this is, I guess, the other side of it. So, what happens after I pick up those cards? Where do they go, and what does it look like? Uh, right now, it's a bit tricky because none of my cards that I have sent into COMC have actually been processed. You'll see down here, I have two batches of 500 cards. I think going forward, I will probably aim to send off 1,000 cards at a time just to make the shipping to their facility in Washington State more, getting more bang for my buck. I don't want the shipping costs eating into any margins that I may have on the cards that I'm sending in. So I'm definitely going to make sure that I am sending in enough quality cards and also enough quantity of cards to justify the cost of shipping a box out there that, if I use a flat rate box, is going to cost me about $15 to $20. So that is what I'm waiting on right now. So everything else that I have at the moment, none of it is stuff that has been processed that I have sent in myself. It has all been cards that were uploaded to the site by other COMC users. So I've kind of had to build everything here from scratch, no homegrown talent, if you will. So how I started off back in early September was I decided that I wanted to put $500 into my bankroll, or my store credit, I guess we'll say. And the reason that I came up with that number is just because I felt like that would, if I were to go to a show with $500, I could make it a productive show and feel satisfied with what I picked up along the way, assuming that I didn't bring anything with me to sell or trade. So uh, that was kind of where I came up with it. And to scale myself properly, I've kind of grounded myself to only adding store credit at $100 at a time. And I can only do it on Mondays. So each Monday, I kind of have a self reflection period. Do I want to add $100 store credit? Maybe it's because I want to have some more flexibility to go after some port sales that people may be having. Maybe it's because I want to target some larger cards that are going to eat up a significant portion of my store credit. And if they're not the easiest to sell, that means I'm going to be really tied up in just a few cards. And I don't always like that feeling. I like to buy cards. So I like to be able to have that freedom to buy those cards and to not have to miss out on a deal just because I'm worried about my store credit running too low. So far, I have only exercised that option once out of the 4 times. So each Monday, I will sit down. Do I want to add store credit? Yes or no? And so far, only 1 out of 4 times have I said yes. So I've only had to put $600 total into my account. You'll see right now I still have $122 in cash to use as COMC credit. If I do decide to cash out this balance at any time, I will be losing 10% of it just as a cash out fee, which is something that I do keep in mind with a lot of my purchases. And then you'll see here my total asking price of cards that I have listed for sale is just over $2,200 among 366 items that are listed for sale. You also see in the big yellow banner up there, there are 12 cards that are not for sale. I will tell you why that is here in a little bit. But all of these cards here are cards that I have purchased from other people, and I've actually been selling quite a bit. Now, these sales numbers down here is not actually what I have made in the last month. These would be pretty crazy figures. I would be having a lot of success if that was true. But no, these are my lifetime totals, meaning that everything from 2015 and 2019 as a seller are all counted in here, as well as anything that I purchased for my own collection over the years as well. All of those numbers mesh in with everything that I have done over the last month. So it can be a bit misleading. I will show you now, actually, with my seller stats. We'll go to by month, and you'll see right here in 2022. So in the month of September, I was able to sell 176 cards for $918, which I was pretty satisfied with for my first month on the site. It's been a little bit slower here to start October. You can see the amount that I'm getting per card is lower too, meaning I'm moving some lower end cards. I think right now it's about uh, just under $3 in terms of the average sold price, whereas right here you're going to be looking at closer to, off the top of my head, five-ish dollars. So a little bit lower. Doesn't sound like a huge difference, but I can definitely attribute that to certain cards that have been moving. So what has actually been selling? Well, here are the cards that I have sold. You'll see here, this is what I paid for the card in this left column. The sale price is what it actually, what someone actually bought it for. And then the COMC credit is how much I'm going to get after they take their fee. This does not include the 10% cash out fee. In this number right here, it just goes back into my store credit, but that is something that I would have to keep in mind if I wanted to basically take whatever I had made on that card and run with it. So here you see there's a lot of just base stuff for football that's sold right at the end of the month. I'm not sure how these are sorted. It looks like it's kind of random right here. Why don't we go to, oh, I guess this is sold by sale date. My apologies. I was a little bit confused there. But you'll see here, these were all cards, some football cards that I had picked up for really cheap. It was just, these were listed. I think someone was just trying to move through some stuff really quickly, which is very interesting considering a lot of these cards were newly listed based on the item number. And they were all being listed for much less than the 50-cent processing fee that you pay per card whenever you have a card uploaded to the COMC site. So why people do this, I'm not 100% sure, but it does happen. I see cards that are uploaded every single day, hundreds of cards where they are already, unless there's something that I'm unaware of, the seller is already taking a loss on them, just paying the 50-cent processing fee. So I do like that by COMC. I think it is a smart move. I remember back in the day, and by back in the day, I mean 2015, the Select service, which was the upgraded service where you get everything uploaded within a couple of weeks, was 50 cents a card. And now that is just the basic service. So just shows you how things have changed. It was 25 cents a card back then. So I've already noticed, just going through my own stuff, that cards I would have willingly sent in without second thought about 7 years ago doesn't fly anymore. You got to be a little bit more selective in what you send in. And as more and more of my cards are uploaded to this site, I will talk more about that then. But without anything to really show you right here, right now, I will have to table that discussion for a later time. So you'll see a lot of these, if you look at here on the left being my sold date and then my acquisition date, a lot of these line up where they are purchased within 24 hours of me acquiring them myself. And usually most of the time, a lot of these cards were recently added to the site. That is kind of the default, that a lot of people will sort by which cards have been most recently added to the site so that they can see the newest cards. Chances are they have gone through everything that had been listed previously, or it's just old enough where they're not as concerned with it. And that goes for anyone, whether it's someone who's just trying to flip on the site, whether it's someone who's a collector. Say that you're a Miguel Cabrera collector and you've already seen all the other Miguel Cabrera cards that are listed. You only want to see the new ones that are being listed because, well, maybe you're watching something that's a little bit too high on price, but for the most part, you're just looking for things that weren't previously there. So you'll see that there are some here that took a little bit of time. For this one here, took 19 days. This was acquired in a port sale, a very cheap sale here you'll see, but this is the acquisition cost. So a lot of these hockey cards, due to the EPAC thing that goes on with COMC, you'll see a lot of those sales that have kind of leaked in here for 2 cents, 3 cents, 10 cents, because there are just so many of them on the on COMC's website with a pretty low demand on some of them that you have to basically price them this cheap. I'm not paying the 50-cent cost when I acquire them to put them back up, which is why I am able to sell them at that price. But I don't know. I don't know how the e-pack thing works, but I just don't see how this is profitable for those who are having them uploaded through the e-pack. I just someone could explain that to me. I'm very curious to know, but yeah, that is definitely something that is raised an eyebrow or two with me. But for the most part, what you'll see is that a lot of things that move are just things that are short printed, things that are from sets that are fairly popular, and maybe your lower numbered stuff, autograph stuff, tougher inserts I do pretty well with. This was one of my better ones that I had purchased. I purchased this Darius Garland blue fluorescent. These are numbered to 15. I bought this for 40 bucks. I'm constantly asked about Garland stuff at shows. So I do like to pick up his stuff when it presents itself for the right price. And I mean, this is about the cost of a Mosaic Blaster. If I open up a Mosaic Blaster and I bought this card, I would, or I pulled this card, I would be pretty happy with that blaster. So uh, I ended up selling it on eBay the next day through COMC's site for $119.75. They take their cut here, but still a very nice profit margin on that specific card. Same thing here with this Pete Alonso. Then you'll see some other stuff in here that were some of these were acquired through port sales. I don't have a way to show you exactly which ones they are. I kind of remember off the top of my head. All the hockey ones I know for sure were acquired that way. You can see I had this guy right here seems to buy all these ones that I listed for super cheap. All those hockey cards were kind of throw-ins for myself. In the port sale, I was more so interested in some of the autograph cards that the guy had that I purchased them from. Here's another nice one here. This Mike Conley, 2009 Topps Black, number to 50. Another one that sold through eBay. It took a little bit longer too, 12 days. And this is, I'm used to things taking much longer than this, really. It seems like it's taken forever on some of these, like 12 days. I was like, geez, that took forever. But in reality, if you look at some of the cards, like in my eBay store, some of them have sat there for months at a time. And it feels like a short amount of time now, or excuse me, a long amount of time now. But I'm sure as I go along with this and the days and weeks go on, and I acquire more cards too, it probably won't feel as long going forward. So see here again, just more stuff. And one of my keys is that 9 out of 10 times when I am buying a card on here, it's something that I wouldn't mind having shipped to me, or I'm just super confident in it being moved on COMC at some point in time. Even if I have to take a loss, it's not a huge deal. There's very few cards that I've taken a loss on, and all of them were these hockey cards that I had acquired, with maybe one or two exceptions, just because I had made enough on the remaining cards from that port sale where I didn't really care too much about that. Uh, losing a cent or two isn't too devastating when you're able to move some of the cards and make $10 a card on some of the other ones that were acquired in the port sale. And by the way, when I say a port sale, if you're not familiar, a port sale is basically you can lot a bunch of your cards together and people can offer essentially a wholesale price to buy out, whether it's your entire COMC port, so all the cards that you have listed on their site, or perhaps that you limit it to certain parameters. So I'm only putting up my football cards that are 2010 and newer into my port, or whatever the case may be. So there's different ways to do it, but that is what I mean by that. So you see here just a lot of stuff that's a lower number that I go after. Not everything is an immediate, snap buy if it's low numbered and it's cheap. It just kind of depends on the player. I think just going back to my super collecting days, is this a card that I would want to pick up for my super collection on the stuff that is perhaps, I guess you could say, a bit more rare? Rare is such a relative term, but things that aren't as readily available, I think I'll use that term instead. I know some people, we all have different definitions of rare. And a lot of what I'm buying here is manufactured scarcity. I will gladly admit to that in terms of some of the parallels, but that's definitely a discussion for a different day. But I like to have a lot of variety in the stuff here. There are certainly cards that surprise me, like this Brian McCann X-Fractor. I like these X-Fractors from the mid 2000s, and this was one of those. And I'm like, if it ends up getting shipped to me, whatever. I liked Brian McCann as one of my favorite catchers, I guess you could say, when he was playing, and ended up selling the next day. So you just never know when someone's going to be looking for something in particular. So that is some of the stuff that's sold. I'm going to show you some of my pickups, I guess, as well while we're here. So these are cards that haven't actually sold yet that I'm still hanging on to. It will default to the most recently added ones here, but I'm going to go by highest price first. I just want to show you some of the better cards that I currently have. And again, all of these are cards that I wouldn't mind having. So the most expensive card that I have right now is this Tom Brady VGS 9 Aurora from 2020 Prism. Aurora is an interesting insert set. They are in Diamond Kings for baseball, and they're really not that tough to hit. They're one of the more common inserts, but for Prism football this year, they are actually, I believe they are considered case hits. I don't know exactly how often they fall into the product, but they are not easy inserts to hit. You're not going to get one per every box. They're limited to only a couple in a case at most. So I saw this and I scooped it up. I thought it was very cheaply priced. And again, this is just one of those that I would not mind having shipped back to me. Worst comes to shove, or push comes to shove, I should say. And I need to take it with me to shows. That's fine. I'll have it shipped back if it doesn't move within a certain amount of time. Definitely don't mind that. Same thing here with this one. I mean, it's Miggy. How can I resist a Miggy? And I love the flawless diamonds. This one here is numbered to 10. It was just extremely cheap. When I was super collecting Miggy, I had gone after some of these flawless diamonds. I had never seen one sell as low as this one was listed for, so I went ahead and scooped it up. And of course, I don't mind having a Miggy diamond shipped back to me. Always love to get some nice Vinsanity stuff, especially from this 2003 Topps Chrome set. I do think the black refractors are really sharp for most of the cards in the set. And this Carter one here, it's him taking a jump shot. I would think it's a better photo if he was dunking, but it's a nice photo. Blank background there, really clean. It focuses on the player. So I do like this card a lot. And the assigned grade helped me out based on the cert number. I'm guessing that based on the price that I paid, the seller of this card probably took a loss on it. But hey, you cry, I buy, right? Bryce Harper, Memorial Day camo, just a nice low number flagship parallel. Riley Green, Bowman Sterling prospect auto. I still do like Riley Green. I know he hasn't had the most tremendous season to this for his rookie year, but it's whatever. I'll gladly take that. Looking on here, this one was one that this is a lesson learned already on COMC. So this Juan Soto card I had seen listed for $9.75, and I was going to immediately relist it myself. I wasn't sure what it was going to be for, but by the time that I had clicked on it and then agreed to purchase, it had actually already been purchased and relisted for double that original asking price, which I did not notice when I went ahead and clicked on it. So I ended up paying double what I really wanted to pay for this. It was still less than a blaster. And again, if I were to pull this card out of a blaster of Series 1 2021, I would be pretty happy. So it is what it is. Again, another one of those, if I get it shipped back to me, I don't mind too much. These two right here were some really incredible finds. This Julio Rodriguez. These actually go for a lot more than I thought. And you can see up here this 4-year sales history. It's a card that is transacted more often than I would think. But this, I will tell you straight up, I acquired it for $5. And I try to price it where someone can get a deal on it. You can see it up. I have it basically for $35 here. But I still want to be able to to take my number and move on. Here's another one here. This one I purchased for $1. It was a Kellen Mond, number to 5. I get that he was cut by the Vikings in preseason, but it's a rookie quarterback parallel numbered to 5. I get it's from Chronicles and it's from Elite. It's not even one of the better Chronicles brands, but hey, it is. I don't mind picking it up for $1, and this is one of those that I don't really mind too much. I'll drop it down here eventually if it doesn't sell, but I decided to start it high and see what happens. Yeah, I'm not too pressed for getting top dollar on those ones that I get for ridiculously cheap. If someone else can get a deal off me, that's perfectly fine. If a collector can add it to their collection and they've they're looking for that, and I'm able to put it in their hands for a price that they're happy with. That's really always been one of my goals. And with COMC, it's a little less personal, so I can't always see that or get that feedback, of course. But I do, it is nice to know sometimes when you see some of the usernames, you can tell it's going to a collector. So the items that are needing attention, why don't I have these listed for sale? Well, I actually have 18 of these Darius Garland uh, box set pulsars from Hoops Premium stock. This is his rookie year. And again, I get asked about Garland stuff a lot. You can see I bought all of these in a bulk deal for 63 cents a piece. I have sold 2 of the 20 that I had, but I don't want to flood the market with a lot of them, kind of how I'm doing it right now. I put out 6 of them, and as time goes on, if one sells, then I'll put out another one, but I don't want to just flood the market with a bunch of them out there. Again, worst case scenario, I will just have them shipped back to me. Garland is a good seller for me locally at the shows, and if I put them out for a couple bucks a piece, $2 a piece at the shows, then I'm still coming out ahead. So that's still fine with me. So yeah, that was it for my COMC update. I am very curious to see how this whole thing pans out, and hopefully I'll have some cool stories to tell and some more things that I've learned along the way when I update you all next time at the start of November. But if you enjoyed the series, let me know. If you want me to talk about something specific with COMC, today was definitely a lot of introductory stuff, kind of prefacing how I got things set up here for this month. But if there's anything that you want me to talk about specifically going forward, I am more than happy to dive into it. Kind of share my journey as I go along with selling on this platform once again. So thanks again for spending your time with me today. I really appreciate it. Until next time, take care, stay safe, be kind.